Well, hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Inside Line Racing. My name is Alex Lilliart, a different commentator tonight. Ginger Andy unfortunately is unavailable, and I believe Gaming Alamonda is on his way back from wherever he's been today and was a doubt for tonight's event, so I've kindly stepped up. Usually you can find me commentating on ILR3. I was racing in there for a couple of seasons and now swapped the driving gloves for the microphone, and I'm in the commentary booth every Thursday night for this. So those of you that are regulars to Inside Line Racing would have heard of me, will know what I'm about, and hopefully tonight I can provide for you a nice commentary here around the fantastic Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Round 7 of Season 4 in the top tier of ILR, ILR1, and so far we've got several drivers out there have already posted fairly competitive lap times. The session is still fairly early, still 12.5 minutes left of it, as Matt 325.75 in the Haas pops up into 6th place. Noek is currently on provisional pole for Toro Rosso for 108.752. VSR Josh in 2nd, Louis 3rd, Plexits 4th, it's me in 5th. We've got CC Brain and Calic Rist as well, though Calic's 135 can pretty much be ignored. Lickle Blocks, for whatever reason, has already retired from the session. Not too sure if he's crashed or he's had an issue or whatever, but we do have 20 of the 20 drivers here tonight, so it's a full grid, and hopefully it'll be nice to see a majority of these guys survive the 35 laps around here. It's a tight, twisty, technical street circuit here, but it does provide plenty of overtaking opportunities and plenty of options as well for these drivers to trip over each other, certainly in the first couple of laps. Hopefully we don't see too much of that tonight. The last thing we want is to see 4 or 5 cars off on the first corner or into the pits to change wings on their car after picking up some damage. So hopefully we should have a nice competitive race tonight from all of these guys. And Nickel Blocks has just come on to the stream to say that unfortunately he crashed. He did crash in qualifying, so unfortunately for the Ferrari driver, I believe he's in the Ferrari, he's very well going to be starting towards the back of the grid. Just watching Gonanen here, Gunanen, I'm not too sure. There's a few of these drivers in here that I am familiar with. I've either raced against or commentated on in previous years gone by, but there's a few drivers, including the Ferrari here, that I've, with all due respect, never heard or seen of before. So it's going to be a nice test for me tonight to work out where the ultimate pace is. One thing I can do, of course, though, is talk about the drivers in the championship constructor standings as it stands at the moment. So VSR Blizzard for McLaren Company leads the way on 98 points. June for Sauber, 2nd place on 77. Then we have TTG Lambo in the Haas in 3rd on 72. Killer Zone in the 2nd McLaren on 70 points, and then VRT Cliffy and a Mercedes in 5th place on 57. 3 drivers still yet to score points this season: Bugatti in the Red Bull, Plexit Williams and VSR Josh in the Force India. And in the constructors table then we got Blizzard and Killer Zone obviously in the McLaren, both of them inside the top 5, so they're leading the way for the constructors in 168 points. Calic Risk and Doom in the Sauber, 85 points. VRT Cliffy and Frisky CJ for Mercedes on 79, and then TTG Lambo and Matt for the Haas team on 78. 5th place CC Brain and Ashbest for Renault on 47, tied with Noek and CSR Leon's Toro Rosso team also on 47, and propping up the table, as you would imagine, VSR Louis and Bugatti for Red Bull on just the 12 points. So 6 races already gone, the 7th one here as well, so still plenty of time for these guys to mount a championship charge, and even the drivers or the constructors championship. We're just watching TTG Lambo here, currently on a fast lap at the moment. So only 9 drivers have set lap times so far. And this weekend here we have the, I think it's the Hypersoft, the Ultrasoft and the Supersoft tyres. So it's the 3 quickest tyres available to these drivers. And I wouldn't be surprised to see most of the field try to go for the Ultrasoft tyres to try and get through inside the top 10. The Hypers are obviously the quickest tyre, but they do wear out at the quickest rate, and I think a majority of these drivers will be looking to do the one stop here tonight. It could be a few people out there doing the Hypers onto the Supers. It can be done, but it's going to require a bit of luck, but I think most of these guys will be doing Ultras onto Supers. There might be a few out there doing the 2-stop strategy. Certainly if they had to pit in the first couple of laps, they'll definitely be on at least a 2-stop strategy. So just watching TTG Lambo then come out of the final corner, opens up the DRS, stays over to the right hand side, and his lap time is good enough for 6th place. Talking about DRS, we have 3 zones here. Usually in years gone by we've had 2. The 2 number ones, of course, between the hairpin in sector 3 and obviously coming along the main straight as well, which does provide the best overtaking opportunities. We've got a 3rd one here in sector 2 between, I think, turns 8 and 9, 7 and 8, correct me if I'm wrong. That won't be used primarily too much for overtaking. It'll be merely a case of just closing up on the car ahead of you. You can overtake going into the hairpin. You can also overtake between the hairpin and the final chicane with the DRS, and then of course you can use that DRS again between the final chicane and turn 1 to pull away. There's only one activation point for the final final 2 DRS zones. So if you pick that up behind, and we're just coming up to that now, and you don't manage to get past going into the final chicane, you get a second bite of a cherry going into turn 1. If you do manage to overtake going into the final chicane, then you've got the DRS there to hopefully put a bit of a cushion and a bit of a gap between yourself and the car you've just overtaken to defend yourself going into turn 1. So pretty much the last part of this lap is where we're going to see most of the overtakes tonight, but being Canada, there's pretty much overtakes going on at every corner at some point in this race. So we're up to 13 drivers now then. Frisky CJ out there on circuit, just completing an out lap at the moment in sector 1. In fact, he might be on a fast lap actually, the delta time's just popped up. VSR Francis also out there as well, he's currently negotiating sector 2. Killer Zone as well, he's in sector 1. We've got yellow flags somewhere in sector 1, not too sure who, what, where or why that's for. And both the Mercedes yet to post a lap time here. VRT Cliffy coming back into the pits. So we'll come back up to Frisky CJ then and see how he's getting on. So we've just passed that first DRS zone there. Running a little wide over the curb. Nice onboard shot here of the front right of that front wing. And then moving the car over to the left hand side. He's on the Hypersoft tyres, the pink wall tyres. Like I said before, they are the quickest and the grippiest initially, but they do wear out at the quickest rate as well. So then just coming over to open up the DRS, we've got yellow flags somewhere down the back straight. I think it's probably a car just going a little bit slowly. It is, and McLaren just putting that to the way. So Frisky CJ coming into the final chicane, keeping away from that legendary Wall of Champions. Opens up the DRS again for the third time, sticking to the right hand side of the circuit, shortest run to the line, and it's a 108.943, but he hasn't validated somewhere because it hasn't actually changed anything. So he's going to have to go again, and hopefully he's got enough grip and fuel in that car. Killer Zone then will jump on board of the McLaren driver, just already negotiated the first couple of corners. And I think he's actually, is he on a slow one or not? Not too sure actually. It does look to me on board here that he is sort of backing off just a little bit. I could be wrong though. Yeah, he's 1.2 seconds down. So yeah, he has definitely backed off. So we'll find someone else then to jump on board with. VRT Cliffy just coming out to start an out lap. And the track's not particularly busy at the moment. Most of the field there, as you can see, in the pits already. So what we'll do then, as it's fairly quiet at the moment, we'll bring up the best lap times from all of these guys. As imagined, the top 2 there on the Hypersoft tyres. Everyone else have set their best lap times on the Supersofts. So instead of me thinking that most of these guys going for the top 10 would be on the Ultrasofts, they've initially gone for their first run on the Supersoft. Sort of a banker lap, I expect, these guys going out there. Just to, you know, put a decent lap in. And then if it all goes wrong towards the end of the session, at least they've, you know, if they do end up inside the top 10, they've got a set of super soft tyres. Matt's just popped up into third on the set of the Ultras. I'll be expecting most of these guys inside the top 10 to come back out on either the Ultras or maybe the Hypers if they're feeling brave. 2 drivers, Gonanen and Kalik Rist, in first and second, are the only 2 so far then inside the top 10 to set their best lap time on those hyper soft tyres. So it's me then just coming down to the final chicane. Not too sure if he's starting a flying lap or not. It looks like he's completing a flying lap actually. So over the line then. Currently a 109.6 and it's a 108.5, but again he's had an invalidation as well, I can only assume, unless the delta time on the right hand side is lying to me. So fairly quiet out on circuit at the moment. The only retirement from this qualifying session is Lickle Blocks at the moment. 4 other drivers still yet to set a lap time, but it's Gonanen at the moment on provisional pole for Ferrari. Kalik Risk in the Sauber in second place and Matt in the Haas sitting in third. So in VRT Cliffy, currently last in the qualifying standings, and he's completely flipped that on his head with a 107.469. The Mercedes driver then taking provisional pole here so far. Just 4 minutes left of the session. He's also gone for the Hypersoft tyre, so no surprise to see him at the top. Very quick driver. I've known him for a few years now. Not surprised to see him at the top of the qualifying standings so far. So that just leaves Frisky CJ, Killer Zone and Bugatti yet to set a lap time. And so far 2.2 seconds separating the 16 drivers that have set a lap time. 2 on the Hypersofts, 2 on the Ultras, everyone else on the Redwalled Supers, which is nice to see. Nice surprise there to see most of these guys going for the harder compound early on. I'll be expecting most of them to be going back out there on a different set of tyres. You can see there at the moment as I bring up the fitted option, and Gonanan's gone back out there in a set of Hypersofts. We've also got Louis out there, he's Hypersofts, VSR Blizzard Ultras, CSR Leon Ultras as well, VSR Josh in 11th Ultra Soft tyres. These guys now, some of them out there at the moment, just coming to the end of their outlap. So we'll jump on board of CSR Leon then. He's currently sitting in 7th place in this fantastic livery Toro Rosso. Over the line and over to the right hand side, braking heavy as you can down to 3rd gear for turn 1. Straight away, right hander for turn 2. Down to 2nd and the 1st. Short shift it up to kill the rear spin and the rear traction as well. Over to the left hand side. Now into the first of many different changing chicanes here. Right and then left. Keep away from the outside wall. Flick right over to the far side of the circuit. Brake heavy as you can. Down into 3rd gear as well. Try to stay away from both sides of the curves. It'll unsettle the car. Oh, you can see there he's just clipped it, and that's what I mean. He's unsettled the rear end by touching that curb, and he has backed off, making contact with the wall. So just as I say, they're staying away from some of these curbs, especially you will light up the rear tyres on them with a low traction, and it will spit you out with a bit of oversteer into the outside wall. That's exactly what's happened, and CSR Leon I should say, has had to abandon that lap. Hopefully he's got enough life in those ultra soft tyres and enough fuel on board to go again. With just over 2 minutes left of this qualifying session now, you can see a majority of the field lower down the order now on their outlaps. Predictions please in the chat. We've got plenty of people watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. Anyone out there possible in your eyes that could beat Cliffy's pole time at the moment? I don't think so, to be honest with you, because a lot of these guys further down are out there on the ultra soft tyres. I mean, Louis in 5th place has got ultra softs. He's got to find over a second on the second range tyres here to beat Cliffy's time, and unless Gonanan can pull a surprise somewhere, I think Cliffy may very well be starting this race on pole position. A great lap it was as well for 107.469. So Gonanan then opening up the DRS, moving over to the left hand side to give him the most shallowest of the right hand turns towards the braking for turn 1, locking up the front left just a little bit. Yellow flags in sector 3. So Gonanan's now on a flying lap. Calic Wrist as well, just setting himself up. Matt as well, he's in sector 1. He's got to push a little bit to get round in time. Louis as well, he's in sector 1 but on an outlap. VSR Blizzard. Oh, bit of contact there. Might have been net code, not too sure what that is, but there's a red ball going very slowly at the back of the circuit there. VSR Blizzard giving Killerzone a nice little toe here down the back straight. And Blizzard gets out of the way for his teammate then. So Blizzard, they're probably just giving a little bit of a toe to his teammate. Maybe he was a bit upset by that red ball being off to the side of the circuit, and he decided to abandon the lap, come into the pits. So Blizzard's qualifying session is over. Let's try and find some of the other heavy hitters, see how they're doing. Well, Killerzone's just crossed the line actually there, in 4th place on the ultra soft tyres, so a very good job done by him. Calic Riss has almost certainly picked up an invalidation for running wide there at the turn 9 corner. So Gonanan's coming across the line now then. Is this a flying lap? It is indeed. Is it going to improve? It's a 107.669, still 2/10 off of VRT Cliffy's time. So far then, Cliffy looking very safe on provisional pole. Just 15 seconds left of the session. So Calic Risk will be the next of the heavy hitters to come across the line. But this definitely isn't going to improve, and I think he's going to... well, he might be on an out lap. I'm not too sure actually. The Delta Time is saying he's on a flying lap. But is he going to have enough time to cross the line? He does, so he's definitely the last car across the line if he is going for a flying lap. Noek has managed to improve to 6th place. Blizzard's session is also over. Doom has made a mistake. He's down in 8th. So we've got Plex6N. He is currently in 9th place as well. Not too sure if he's going to be moving up the order. I mean, he's only 8/10 off. I think he's just set that lap time actually. So Calic Risk was certainly the last car across the line. 200ths up at the moment. Cliffy as well, he's in sector 2. Gonanan, we know his session's over. Oh, the Sauber getting very close to making contact with a Ferrari there. Not wanting to get in his way too much, but unfortunately has hindered him a little bit. And that was Calic Risk as well, that Sauber. So that's a double whammy there. So Cliffy then at the moment on provisional pole. Gonanan, we know he's done through qualifying. He can only do 2nd place. It's up to Calic Risk now, who's going very deep into the final hairpin there, locking up the right front as well. A little bit of contact with the left rear on the wall, no damage done. We shouldn't lose too much time now. It's all about building the speed, working with the DRS down to the final chicane. Matt has popped up into 3rd place. Good lap by him on the Hypersoft tyres. VSR Francis also up into 5th. But Calic Risk, I think, is the only person that can challenge VRT Cliffy for the provisional pole, who has yet to set his last lap. Well, he has, and so has Calic Risk as well. So I think that's pretty much it then. These are the guys that won't be able to challenge Golan, and we know is backed off. Who else is out there? Joom. He's coming into the pits, and that will be it then. So the qualifying session ends with VRT Cliffy on pole position for Mercedes. Golan up into second place. Matt in third. Calic Risk in fourth. They're the 4 drivers on the Hypersoft tyres. And then VSR Francis in fifth. Very good lap to just get inside, or just outside, for 107. So for 108.000. 2 drivers failed to set lap times. Lickle Blocks, who crashed early in the qualifying session, and the Red Bull Bugatti, for whatever reason, failed to set a lap time. But good to see how competitive it is in ILR1. 1.3 seconds separates the 18 drivers that have set a lap time here. So here we go then, just to confirm, VRT Cliffy on pole position for Mercedes, 2 tenths ahead of Gonanon in the Ferrari. Matt and Calic Risk line up on row 2. VSR Francis and Killer Zone 5th and 6th. TTG Pro, Noek, Joom and Plexus round out the top 10. Then we have VSR Josh, CC Brain, TTG Lambo, CSR Leon, one of the 2. Louis in 15th, VSR Blizzard 16th. He'll be disappointed with that performance. Frisky in 17th, same for him. It's Me 18th, and then Lickle Blocks and Bugatti, who failed to set lap times. So then, the green lights are on now for the formation lap, being led away by Cliffy's Mercedes. I saw someone, I'm not too sure who it was, but someone said we're now on a commercial break, probably when I took a quick pause. Yes, I do that sometimes in qualifying and a race as well, just to give myself a little bit of a breather. So if you do leave and then put back and there's no sound for a minute or so, it's just me just having a quick breather, do not worry. So then Cliffy then leads the field away, gone on in second place, Matt in third. So we'll bring up the tyre details then, just so we know where we stand. Of course, with all F1 rules and regulations, those that qualified inside the top 10 have to start the race on the tyres they set their best lap on. So Cliffy, Gonanon and Matt, the top 3, all on the Hypersoft tyres. And then 4th down to 9th, they've all gone for the ultra soft tyres. Then Plexix has managed to get the Williams inside the top 10, but on the hypers. Then everyone else, 11th down to 20th, have free reign, free choice of whatever tyres they want to go for, and there will hopefully be a fresh set as well. We've got VSR Josh in 11th, CSR Leon in 14th, and it's me in 18th, all going for the ultra soft tyres. Everyone else outside the top 10 going for the super soft tyres. So those from 11th down to 20th will be looking to do this on the one-stop strategy, ultras onto supers or supers onto ultras. Ideally, those inside the top 10 may very well have to do a 2-stop here, which isn't too difficult as long as you you know, manage to find yourself a bit of clean air during the pit stops, because obviously these guys hurtle into the pit lane entrance whilst you're sort of braking for the final chicane, so you don't really lose too much time there. And then the pit exit as well, as everyone knows, you basically bypass turn 1 and you come out onto the circuit on the outside for turn 2. So it's not like, let's say for example, a place like Silverstone for example, you lose a lot of time by doing a 2-stop strategy rather than a 1. Here it's not that, you know, it's not much of a difference, maybe a few seconds, but you might very well get that back up in the race by running obviously for quicker tyres. So here we go then, all the drivers now just coming back onto the circuit. We've got 35 laps here of action around this historic Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Look for contact in turns 1 and turn 2. In fact, look for contact pretty much everywhere for the first couple of laps, as all these guys go in close circulation. So it's Cliffy on the right, Gonanen on the left, and watch out for Matt and Calic Risk in the background as well. All the drivers just syncing up. The 5 lights are coming on, and round 7 here in ILR1 is go, and away the drivers go now, lighting up the rear tyres as they struggle for traction. And it's Cliffy with a great start then. He's moving over to the right hand side into turn 1. Gonanen remains in second place. Matt and Calic Risk going into battle in the inside and outside of turn 2, and it looks like Killer Zone has managed to make a couple of positions up as well. And again, Calic Risk up the inside of Matt going into turn 3, just locking up the right front there a little bit, running wide as well. And Killer Zone in 5th place might take advantage of that. Same for Francis as well. Cliffy and Gonanen are gone, and further back we've got TGG Poe and June going into battle. We've got Nowick, Plexix in the background as well. Bit of dust there, and Lee's been kicked up on the outside. These guys are very, very close in the middle of the field as they make their way around turn 1. Watch for contact as well down into the hairpin in case someone snatches a break late. We've got a Renault bypassing the entrance to the corner there just to get out of the way of everyone else behind, and these guys in very close formation. Hopefully they can keep it together. Coming down into the braking zone for the hairpin, we've got the Williams up to the inside of the Renault. Force India just giving a bit of a love tap in the background as well. This is DGG Poe. I think I called him Pro or Poo earlier or something. I do apologise. He's in 9th with Plexix remaining in 10th place. He needs to make positions up early on those hyper soft tyres. Meanwhile, up the front there, we've got Killer Zone. He's made an almighty great start. Oh, Calic Risk is just running wide there over the final chicane. Might give Matt an opportunity coming into lap 2. It's led by Cliffy. Gonanen already well over a second behind. Cliffy will be very happy with that. And Killer Zone's made an almighty start up to 3rd place. Calic Risk just running a little wide through turn 2. Matt might take advantage coming out into turn 3. Not this time. Francis in 6th, June 7th, Nowick 8th. And we've got Poe and Plexix 9th and 10th as well. We'll circle back down through the order. We've got a bit of contact here, I think, as well. We've got a McLaren, I think. Blizzard might have just kissed the outside wall there a little bit. Looks like he's understeering just a bit through the right-hander. Hopefully no damage on the front of that orange McLaren. He's just ahead of Louis in 16th, Frisky in 17th as well. And I think it might be a bit more debris there just been kicked up on the side of the circuit. These guys at the back pushing as hard as they can, of course. And it's me all the way back in 20th place. So he's obviously had an issue somewhere. And I think he might have a bit of damage on the front left, not too sure. We'll come back up to Cliffy though. He leads the way, 1.6 ahead of Gonanen. And Killer Zone's had a great start. He's up into 3rd. Calic Risk in 4th. Matt remaining in 5th for now. Francis there just having a little bit of a look as June closes up as they now come round to complete lap 2 into lap 3. Cliffy sets a new fastest lap, a 1 minute 10.955. Expect that to come down as the laps tumble in this race. DRS is now being enabled. Of course, there's 3 zones as I mentioned in qualifying, but look for most of the action going into the hairpin, the final chicane, and also in turns 1 and turn 2. And these guys in the midfield very close at the moment. So bring up the position changes as we watch all these guys in the lower part of the top 10 thunder their way through into sector 2. So Killer Zone indeed has made a good start up 3 positions. Matt's lost 2. VSL Francis has lost 1. Doom has made 2 positions from 9th up into 7th place. Lickle Blocks has also made 2 overtakes as well from 19th to 17th. So these guys all still circulating in very close formation. And it doesn't look like anyone's made a pit stop early on. And you've got Leon just closing up on Lambo in their little battle for 13th place. Blizzard still circulating in 14th. Bieber looking to move up the order, as will Louis. Lickle Blocks as well, having to start at the back of the grid after crashing in qualifying. We've got more action at the hairpin now. It's Leon and Lambo continuing with their little spat over 13th place. And they're side by side as well now. And watch out for Blizzard behind. We'll jump on board with a McLaren driver. They both have DRS. Everyone has DRS. They're all so close together. And who's going to be the winner coming into the chicane here? Blizzard's just had to brake just a little bit early there. And the back end of Lambo just snaking a little bit. Frisky CJ, congratulations. You're our first driver to pick up the time penalty for exceeding track limits. And it's Blizzard up the inside going into turn 1. Space is given by Lambo. Very respectful. But he chops across into turn 2, and then gets a better exit as well, so Blizzard has to remain in 15th place for now. Meanwhile, we've got Doom making positions up. Francis is losing out. Oh, there's contact there between Francis and Nowick, and TTG Poe might take advantage of that, so I think Doom has made a couple of more positions. Might be a bit of contact there between Francis and Nowick, or maybe Matt was involved in that as well. So Doom then, the biggest mover so far, up 4 positions. He'll be happy with that on these ultra soft tyres, but at the moment no one can get close to Cliffy. The gap is now up to 2.3 seconds. Killerzone is now up behind Gononen's Ferrari, so Killerzone very impressive so far in the early stages of this race. Now with the DRS coming down the back straight, we've got other moves further back. Plexix has managed to get past CC Brain for 11th. Looks like Gononen's got nice top end speed there, because even with the DRS for the McLaren, he hasn't really closed up too much. We might get the might see an overtaking opportunity coming down into 1. He's right underneath the rear wing. Will Gononen defend the inside? He doesn't. Killerzone has half a look, but decides better of it. Calic Risk still holding on to 4th place. His teammate now behind him in June. Further back we've got more action there between VSR Francis and Nowick. And the Renaults are now close together, 9th and 10th. Josh in 11th, Leon in 12th. These guys outside the top 10, all very close together. You can see there 3 tenths, 5 tenths, 3 tenths, 6 tenths between them, so they're all circulating around very, very close. And this could be a race where making the pit stop at the right time and coming out in clean air could see you move up or down the order. Of course, it's still early. You can still see a virtual safety car or a real safety car, you never know. I'm not too sure on what the weather is to play as well. I should have asked, to be honest with you, but I didn't. As we've got Frisky CJ and Bugatti going into battle over 19th place. Bugatti on the Red Bull might try to switch back. Contact between the two of them, and that's pitched the Mercedes of Frisky into the outside wall. He's in 20th place, and now with a heavily damaged front wing, so he's probably going to be pitting in the lap or 2 to fix that. And unfortunately for him, his race is not going the way it wanted to. Meanwhile, Killerzone up into 2nd place. He's managed to get past Gononen into the final chicane. Meanwhile, further back, the Saubers have switched positions. June is still climbing up the order. He's now into 4th place, having got past his teammate. And Calic Risk has now got to defend from the likes of Matt and Francis and Nowick behind as well. VSR Josh has managed to get up inside the top 10 now in 10th place, getting past one of the Renaults. The next one is just ahead of him. And Frisky CJ does indeed come into the pits and chooses that opportunity to retire in the pit lane. So our first retirement tonight then, after contact with Bugatti, after fighting over 19th place. I've seen Frisky CJ throwing the towel early on here. He's left the session as well. So we're down to 19. So far, so good. And these guys are very close together, very respectful, pushing the limits, pushing the tyres, pushing everything they can at the moment. It's still early days here, lap 6 of 35. And just look further down as well, Lambo in 14th. He might have to defend the inside from the hairpin from Louis behind. Who, nope, doesn't think of a move. Oh, love tap there from Lickle Blocks. Definite damage there on the front. So he won't be too happy with that. And you've got Plexix now all the way down in 17th place. So something's happened to Plexix, because he started inside the top 10 and now he's all the way down in 17th. So as you can see there, he's lost 7 positions. 3 seconds have been added to Matt's race time for exceeding track limits. And I think there might have been a bit of a battle coming up here. Yep, there is indeed. We've got Leon, Blizzard, we've got Louis and Lambo going into battle. I think Louis might have just passed the Haas actually. So these guys again still circulating in very close formation. Bugatti, he's got front wing damage down in 19th, but so far it's Cliffy then into lap 7. On the Hypersoft tyres, Killerzone doing a very good job now up into 2nd place and pulling away from Gononen. These Hypersoft tyres do start to go off a little bit around about lap 6 or 7, certainly a qualifying set, but I've seen people push these well into lap 10 or 11 before. And if these guys on the Hypers, and there's only 3 of them, well 4 of them if you count Plexix down in 17th, but he's not a factor at the moment. If these guys can get these tyres to about lap 10 or 11, they may very well put on a set of super soft tyres and take them all the way to the end. Those on the ultra soft tyres will be looking to maybe around about lap 13 or 14, and then again going for a set of super soft tyres. Those on the super soft tyres will be taking these as far as possible. It is possible for these guys to take them 23, 24 laps, but to be honest with you, tyre life does start to go off after around about 16 or 17. But it's looking like it could very well be a one-stop race at the moment. As we've got VSR Francis and Calic Risk going into battle. Nowick somewhere is up to 5th place. Well, I've missed all that whilst I've been chatting in the background. So Nowick's now up to 5th, and we've got Calic Risk and Francis going into battle, and Calic Risk is going to come on on dangerously into the middle of a circuit there, and look at this, he might as well be just sitting still. Everyone is getting past him. TTG Poe, VSR Josh has gone, and there's contact there between himself and Matt. That's going to end in an accident if these guys keep up the wheel banging so much, because you've got a Renault there as well, possibly making this 3 wide. Everyone else in the background all ganging up on these guys. We've got 6 or 7 cars trying to share the same piece of tarmac. Calic Risk is all over the circuit at the moment. Matt's managed to get past into 9th, and Calic is down into 10th. And look at this, there's so many cars, I don't know who it is. It's Brain, I know that Leon is there as well, and Calic again taking avoiding action over the inside curb. He's definitely struggling for whatever reason at this stage, and everyone's going to start ganging up on them here. Looks like CC Brain is defending the inside, massive front right lock up there, and we've got Louis as well in this battle. Oh, and there's contact there, and CSR Leon's being pushed off the circuit by someone, not too sure who. And meanwhile Calic Risk has got to defend possibly from 2 cars trying to overtake coming into the final chicane. CC Brain is defending the inside. Louis in 12th, backs out of it, as does Blizzard in 13th. Gonanen in 8th place on the super soft tyres is making a pit stop here, and they're 3 wide up ahead coming into turn 1. Fantastic here. Who's going to take the position? I'm not too sure. Calic Risk, I believe, is going to be hung out to dry here. Both of Louis and CC Brain have managed to get past, and Blizzard has as well. So I'm not too sure if Calic's got any damage on the front wing, because he's lost a lot of time in the last couple of laps and a lot of positions as well. It's only about 3-4 laps ago he was on dizzying heights of 4th place. Now he's not even inside the top 10. Meanwhile Gonanen has made his first pit stop very early on the ultra soft tyres. He's gone for the supers, so he should be okay to get to the end. 26 laps on those. Calic Risk now starting to drop back, and all these guys, Blizzard, Brain, have managed to get past. Louis now finds himself inside the top 10. TTG Poe up into 7th now, up behind VSR Josh. So Plexix has also made a pit stop recently, as has Liquid Blocks, to obviously repair that front damage. So a few drivers have made pit stops here. Josh has to defend the inside from the Renault. Nice move into the final chicane. I think some 3-second time penalty though for his efforts. The Renault now up into 6th place. Further back, these guys still scrapping over the lower half of the points. And it's Matt, the next driver to blink. He's in at the end of lap 9 off of those hyper soft tyres. So he should be expected to go on to the supers. Indeed it is. No front wing change, so he'll be happy with that. So Plexix might get the jump, but we'll come back up to the leader. Cliffy then still leading the way at the moment. 2.7 seconds ahead of Killer Zone, who in turn is 3 seconds ahead of Doom, who now finds himself in 3rd. Nowick's now up into 4th place. There's Lambo all the way down in 12th, picks up a time penalty. And Nowick's now got VSR Francis up behind him. And he's just past the DRS detection point, so he will definitely have DRS. It's a tighter line there from Francis, but Nowick there taking the shallower line on entry, manages to straighten the car up better on the exit, and that's why he's pulled a little bit of a gap. Now we'll see the top line speed from Francis. Is it impressive? Is it good enough? It's okay. He'll get another stab at it, but he's made a bit of a mistake coming into a final chicane, and all hopes of an overtake into turn 1 are all but forgotten. Oh, race leader Cliffy is in for a set of super soft tyres. Not surprised by that one. So Killer Zone then now takes control of the race, with Doom in 2nd, Nowick now in 3rd, and Cliffy will rejoin in about 8th, I think. He might get a jump on Brain. No, he won't. Brain is ahead of him. So Cliffy out in 9th place then. It's not exactly clear cut. It's not exactly, you know, the best place for him to be on circuit. He's got a little bit of a gap to Lambo behind, so he won't be worried by that, as Liquid Block sets a new fastest lap on 1:10.507. But he's going to catch up, I think, very quickly to the Renault Brain, who is just a second away from Louis. So actually looking at it where everyone is on circuit, Cliffy's done a good job here to find himself in a bit of clean air. He's never going to find complete clean air with all the midfield very close together, but Cliffy, I think, will be happy that he's come out, you know, relatively away from a major squabble. So now all eyes will be on the guys in the top 6 to see when they make a pit stop off of those ultra soft tyres. So Gonan down in 12th place. He's already completed a couple of laps on the super soft tyres. Plexix gone for the ultra softs, so I think Plexix might be on a 2-stop strategy here, because there's no way he's going to be able to, and he pitted at the end of, I think, lap 8 as well. There's no way he's going to be able to take a set of ultra softs the best part of 3/4 of this race. I think Plexix, unfortunately, his strategy hasn't really worked out for him. He qualified in 10th place on the hyper softs, which is a disadvantage straight away. I'd rather be in 11th place, to be honest with you, and unfortunately he's only down in 14th place after completing his first of possibly 2 pit stops here. Got Matt in 15th as well. He's made a pit stop. Same for Liquid Blocks, Calic Risk and CSR Leon's also being in the pits. But Killer Zone leads here. Lap 12 of 35. Doom in second. Nowek in third. So in Doom and Killer Zone in the pits then for the super soft tyres. That promote Cliffy back into what will be the true lead of this race once everyone else ahead of him makes their pit stop. So it's Nowek then. That will lead a lap here at Canada at least. VSR France is up into second. TTG Poe is in third place. I think I called him Pro earlier. I do apologise for that. VSR Josh in fourth. Louis then, the first of our super soft runners, going very long into this race. VSR Cliffy in sixth place. Of course, he is our net leader and has made his one stop here. And I think everyone should be on the one-stop strategy. Certainly the way they're looking at the only anomaly in this is, Liquid Blocks, who's already completed 5 laps. Same for Plexix as well. So both Plexix in 14th, Liquid Blocks in 16th. Pitted at the end of lap 8 for a set of ultra soft tyres. They'll almost certainly have to make a second pit stop. Everyone else should be fine on the one-stop strategy. Some have already made those. VRT Cliffy in 6th, gone on a 9th, Killer Zone in 10th, Doom in 11th, just making his way past It's Me into the hairpin. Around the outside as well. Superior grip advantage at this stage of the race. It's Me's ultra soft tyres will be a bit battered at this point. 12 laps completed so far. So then the rest of the ultra soft runners are in. Oh, apart from Josh, he's decided he wants to lead a lap here. Louis up into second place, as you would imagine. He's going long on the supers. Cliffy back up into third place. So Doom and Killer Zone should get the jump over most of these guys as well. Just wait to see what they do. Looks like we're all going on to the super soft tyres, which is to be expected. Up ahead, Killer Zone now up behind Gonanen. So this is a true battle. Killer Zone recently just made a pit stop. And he got ahead of the Ferrari driver before the first round of pit stops. But then Gonanen has used the undercut very nicely. But the McLaren up the inside into turn 6. Makes the move stick very nicely indeed. Gonanen didn't put up any sort of resistance there at all. And now the McLaren can get after the likes of Lambo and Brain ahead as well, who've yet to make their first pit stop. So it's about 6 seconds, I think, between Cliffy and Killer Zone at the moment, as VSR Blizzard has left the session. And he's also retired as well. So unfortunately, I've missed that. Not too sure what's happened there. He might have retired, or he might have, maybe that's just what happens when people leave the session. We've got yellow flags again in Sector 2. Someone's had a moment. Is it Plexix? I think it's Plexix. It is Plexix. So Plexix has had an instance somewhere. And he's damaged the front wing and immediately left the session. So we're now up to 3 retirements then. This is AI car will hopefully get out of the way eventually. So Leon is our last runner at the moment in 16th. Meanwhile, we've got VSR Josh making a pit stop. So majority of the field in on the super soft tyres now. Some have already changed onto them. Others waiting to change onto another set of tyres. So it's Louis that leads in. Cliffy is now starting to close that gap, as you can expect. His tyres are 10 laps fresher. More 3-second time penalties coming in. Lambo is the next recipient of that. So Louis then will be pushing these super soft tyres to, I reckon, about lap 18 or 19. And then going for a set of ultras. Cliffy then, and he won't sit behind Louis for too long. You want to get past him and get into some clean air. And we'll jump on board with the Mercedes driver then. Both of them getting good exits out of the hairpin. Back end stepping out on both cars just a little bit, but they've managed to correct that. And now it's the pedal to the metal here as they build up the revs through the gears, reaching their top speed with the DRS. And I think Cliffy just backing off there into the final chicane. It's better to try and overtake into turn 1, to be honest with you, than into the final chicane. We've seen many incidents there before in the past where people try and overtake. And Louis doesn't defend the inside. He knows this isn't really a true battle. And pretty much just hands the lead back to Cliffy on a plate. There's no real point for Louis to battle. He's still yet to make his first pit stop. So Cliffy then retakes the lead of this race, which he should now hold to the end. Barring any severe incidents, CC Brain still circulating in third, yet to make his first pit stop. Killer Zone starting to close in him as well. Oh, bit of a brush there of the outside wall in 4. Hopefully no damage on that front wing. Hopefully we'll get a quick look at it. Looks okay, looks okay, looks okay. But he's certainly pushing the track limits here at the moment. Lambo in 5th has got Gonanen behind him. And Joom as well. So Joom still making moves in this race. So once Louis, Brain and Lambo all pit, we should see a true reflection of how this race is. Joom up the inside of the Ferrari driver. And Gonanen loses another position then. Maybe he's not enjoying them super soft tyres. He's been on them already for 7 laps. So he's already at a slight disadvantage. But he might come back at the Sauber driver here then. So duck and weave and jink about on the back straight. Everyone's still circulating around at the moment. And Joom then completes lap 17 into the second half of this race now then in 6th place, but he's already gaining on Lambo. I think Lambo made a mistake coming out the final chicane, defends the inside. Joom will try this the hard way around turn 1, but then immediately find himself on the inside for turn 2. That's the unique characteristics of the first couple of corners here. If you're on the outside for turn 1, you can still complete the move because you're on the inside for turn 2. And to be honest, I'd rather be on the inside for 2 than for turn 1. So Joom then, in the space of 2 laps, has made up 2 positions, up into 5th place now. And you've got Nowick in the background as well. He's starting to gain on these guys, so don't discount the Toro Rosso driver from a potential podium here. But it's Cliffy that leads, 1.3 seconds ahead of Louis. He'll be hoping and praying that he can push his tyres as far as possible. Meanwhile, Killer Zone now right up behind the Renault of Brain. 16 laps completed. He's had the super softs of course on since the start of this race. And Killer Zone wants to get past as quickly as possible. Think about a late move, very late move up the inside, and Brain just about sees him in time, even with the lock up on the front right. So it was a bit of a cheeky little dive bomb there from Killer Zone, but he managed to handle it well. And Brain just about saw him. Has a DRS as well, so he should be able to pull away once he comes out the final chicane. And we'll see Brain choose this opportunity to pit. No, he's going to keep going, as has Louis up ahead. And then with the DRS, as I mentioned in qualifying, Killer Zone now has that DRS, and you can see there he's now starting to pull away from Brain. So once you get the move done, you can use the DRS to get past. And Joom thinking about a late move up the inside, but Brain this time decides to close the door and squeezes the Sauber driver out on the exit of turn 2. Which one got the better exit? They both got exactly the same, so Brain just holding on to 4th place at the moment. Meanwhile, further back, Nowick and Gonanen going into battle in 3 and 4. And I think now that Nowick's just had to settle behind the Ferrari for now, so Gonanen is certainly not on the pace as he was in the initial part of this race. Now he's on the super soft tyres. He seems to be struggling over all of these other guys around him. Again, though, he has been on them super soft tyres for 9 laps already. Those 9 laps have gone quick. So Nowick in 8th. Francis in 9th, TTG Poe rounding outside the top 10. Lickle Blocks has now found himself up into 12th place by being on those ultra soft tyres, but we know he's going to have to make another pit stop, and there's moves going on up ahead. Joom up the inside of Brain coming at the hairpin, and Nowick has done the exact same thing as well. So Joom now up into 4th and Nowick now up into 7th place. And Brain and Lambo now starting to fall down the order a little bit as the guys on the quicker tyres or the fresher tyres start to make their way through. But they will keep going. They won't put up too much of a fight. They've got their own race to run for the lower half of the top 10. It's Cliffy that leads. Here comes Nowick up the inside. Very nice move. Bit deep into turn 1 though. He's going to have to come across the grass a little bit. That might give Lambo an opportunity back on the exit of turn 2. But I think the superior grip advantage on the fresher super soft tyres is going to see the Toro Rosso driver safely away in 6th place. And now it's up to Gonanen to see if he can actually move up the order rather than down the order, which would be a surprise because he's been falling down for the last few laps here. And you'd think that Gonanen, even 10 laps on them super soft tyres, should be able to get past Lambo at some point. But Nowick's putting in a good performance here, running in 6th place at the moment, which will be 4th once Louis and CC Brain pit. So our top 3 at the moment will be Cliffy, Killer Zone and Joom. And then 4th place will be Nowick. Gonanen will be in 5th, but question marks remain over whether he can get them super soft tyres to the end. And VSR Francis will be in 6th. Gonanen there, just think about half a move up the inside into the hairpin. But might think better of it. Nowick now looking very racy at the moment. On board of a Toro Rosso driver, over the DRS, finger on the button, beep in the ear, gaining the speed. Is he going to go for it into the chicane? He is indeed. Up the inside, no real fight or defensive fight from Brain. Both of them nicely on the brakes as well, and out of the final chicane. And now Nowick will use the DRS to put a little bit of a gap between himself and the Renault driver. Further back, Lambo and Gonanen still dicing over 7th and 8th. and they all keep their positions as it is for now. Francis has now closed up into this battle. Meanwhile, we've got Leon and Bugatti going into battle over the farm chicane, and I think Bugatti's just straight lined that chicane as well. Not too sure if he was ahead or behind the Toro Rosso driver initially. So Bugatti there just recovering to the circuit, and I think is he slowing down to allow Leon through, or did he just make a mistake coming out of turn one? Whatever it is, they're getting into a little bit of contact here. I wonder if that calms itself down. Still a little bit side by side, a bit of contact there, just wheel onto wheel, and Leon picks up a 3-second time penalty because of it. So these guys dicing over 15th place. Leon again thinking about a move up the inside. Bugatti sees him, plays defensive on the exit. He might give Leon an opportunity to come back, also with the DRS as well, so we might actually see an overtake here with the DRS, which isn't a place where you normally would at this point of a circuit. Again, side by side for the next game. It's a great little battle this actually, even if it's just for 15th place. But where there's the battles, I will watch. Now coming down into the hairpin. Bugatti keeps that position. Leon back up the inside. Is he going to squeeze the Red Bull driver out a little bit more contact between them, but no harm, no foul. And the Toro Rosso will have the DRS as well. Mind where his position is changing up ahead. That's literally because, we've got a battle here. Lickle Blocks and Matt going into battle. They'll be moving inside the top 10, I feel. Because Louis, Lambo and CC Brain, the last drivers in to make their first and only pit stop, are doing so now then. I think Louis has rejoined in 9th. Meanwhile, Brain and Lambo well down the order, but they are on a fresh set of ultra soft tyres now. So we keep one eye on Louis then as this race develops, because he's going to be frighteningly fast on the ultra soft tyres. His first target will be VSR Josh in 8th place, who's just up behind the Renault of TTG Poe. Gonanen as well, and VSR Francis. We've got a nice little 4-car train here, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Meanwhile, ahead of him, Noik, Joom and Killerzone are in close formation. In fact, Joom might be thinking about a move actually coming into the final chicane. He's right underneath, well, he was right underneath the rear wing of that McLaren. Meanwhile, Cliffy, quick mention on him, he's out in front, all in control. So back to the battle for second place. Killerzone does defend the inside, then going into the chicane. This could get dicey. Is Joom just going to do it around the hard way, around the outside? They're side by side, in and out of the chicane. Great driving by the pair of them there. Noik in 4th place. I was probably hoping and praying that both of these guys end up in the wall, but it didn't happen. Not often you see cars go into and out of the chicane side by side and remain incident free, but both of them managed to do it. So Joom then up into 2nd place then. Killerzone pushed down to 3rd, and now it will be pushing to try and get on that podium as well. VSR Francis in 5th, Gonanen still hanging on in 6th, TTG Poe, VSR Josh 7th and 8th, and Louis in 9th, having recently made a pit stop onto the ultra soft tyres, and Matt in 10th rounds out the top 10. So into that 23 of 35, VSR Francis in 5th place, just making contact with the wall of champions there. Not too sure if he has damage. Of course, this is just a one-off for me, doing ILR1. My usual birthday's on Thursday nights in ILR3. Just doing us a favour because the 2 regular commentators are unable to make it. So I'm a bit unsure about, overall pace from these guys and what they're all about. Some of these drivers I do know from away from ILR, others I don't know, of course. But a few people have just popped up recently in the chat saying that KB in 2nd place, KB Killerzone, has damage. So that's interesting. I didn't pick that up. If you guys have, and thank you very much for that. So that's probably a reason why he's actually starting to slip off the back of Joom. He gets now up to a 2nd, and here comes Noik then. Noik, who's sniffing a podium spot. And he's going to get a good exit here coming out the final hairpins. Well, look how close they were. And KB has got to defend the inside then. So Noik might try this around the outside going into the final chicane. It's going to be the late of the late breakers. The Killerzone keeps the inside and keeps that position for now then. So the McLaren driver has damage. And Gaming Alimonda, who's joined us, said that Joom will be reducing the gap at the top of the table to just 3 points as it stands. So very close at the top of the drivers' standings, which is what we like to see in ILR1. So Noik then is going to start giving chase to Killerzone with that damage I've been told about on the front wing. VSR Francis 5th place, still holding off Gonanen and Josh. Meanwhile, Louis in 9th place, and Josh picks up a 3-second time penalty. Louis is closing the gap, 3.5 seconds now between himself and that little train of cars up ahead. And Matt in 10th place has got Calic Risk behind him in 11th. CC Brain in 12th as well. He's close, he's sniffing a couple of points possibly up the inside of the Sauber driver, who's fallen backwards in this race. A nice move by the Renault driver. He's also on the ultra soft tyres, so he'll be looking for a handful of points here if possible. Meanwhile, Plexix has made a second pit stop. I believe Bugatti and Nickel Blocks have as well. So a few drivers having to go for the two-stop strategy. Maybe that's the strategy they've chosen, or maybe they've had to pit earlier. Meanwhile, what's happening up here? Gonanen has lost time, and he's now coming with attack from both the Force India and the Renault driver. Is it 3 wide into the final chicane? Please, guys, don't give me a heart attack. Gonanen, is he going to hold on? He just about is, and I think that the Force India of Josh had to back out of it. So Josh is being pushed down to 8th. TTG Poe up into 7th, and he might challenge Gonanen into the inside. And someone has joined the session, not too sure who you are. So VSR Francis will be very thankful for that. He's managed to get a bit of a breakaway, and it's actually starting to close on this battle for 3rd place. That damage on the front wing is now very obvious. Now it's being told to me, it's quite clear. He's now 2.5 seconds behind June. June, meanwhile, has brought the gap down from 8.3 to 7.5. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Someone's had an incident. Plexix is back in the pits. Not too sure who. Could have been Plexix. He's still in the pits. Not too sure why. So VRT Cliffy then continues to lead away. In fact, no, Plexix retired, didn't he? I do apologise. He immediately left the session, so for whatever reason his car is sitting in the garage. So Cliffy leads them. Got yellow flags again coming over the start-finish straight. It's Doom in 2nd, Killerzone in 3rd, defending the inside, coming into the final chicane. And now they're ducking and weaving around behind. Meanwhile, further back there, TG Poe and Gonanen going into battle. Gonanen losing a position this time, so he's down to 7th. So he's yellow flags at the final chicane. And Louis then, he's already caught these guys and immediately sets to work, moving up the order, straight past Josh into 8th. Should make light work of both Gonanen and TTG Poe. I'm really struggling to say that name for some unknown reason. So Louis, I think here, could be odds on for a definite 6th, possibly 5th, depending on how close VSR Francis is to these guys once he moves up into 6th. And of course, Francis is only 2 seconds away from this continued battle for 3rd place. Noik is sniffing blood, he's sniffing a podium spot, he's sniffing 15 points. As Calic Risk's race goes from bad to worse, he picks up another 3-second time penalty. Same for VSR Francis in 5th place. And this is the time of the race now where penalties can really have a dramatic effect on how the race finishes. It shouldn't be too much for Cliffy and Doom because they are sort of on their own on circuit. But these guys, for example, if Noik has a penalty less than Killerzone, he'll jump him at the end. Francis has picked up a 3-second time penalty, a few others as well. So the order could change. And again, these guys are ducking and weaving around. I'm just hoping and pray these two don't end up in an accident, and Noik there just rushes the wall coming out of the final chicane. DRS though down into turn 1. Is he thinking about a late move? He won't. VSR Francis has taken half a second out of him. Meanwhile, Louis then has got past Gonanen as well on that previous lap, and he's now up into 7th place, so it should be 6th probably before the end of this lap, in all fairness. And it shouldn't take him too long to close up on Francis. And Francis again still catching up to Killerzone and Noik. This is the main battle on circuit. There's 2 big battles really. Well, one battle is this one here, and the second one is not really a battle, it's just watching the progress of Louis, as indeed he does manage to get past the Renault up into 6th place. 2.3 seconds then separates the Red Bull driver from Francis in 5th. I'll be expecting that gap to be nothing probably this time, next time by I should say. And Francis now is almost in DRS range of these two, as Noik and Killerzone again still carry on in close formation. So Killerzone again is probably going to have to defend the inside. Jump on board of the Toro Rosso driver. He's a bit too far back this time by. Last couple of laps he was almost side by side going into the final chicane, and Killerzone defending the inside, which I didn't really think he needed to, as Leon in 17th has retired from the race. I'm not going to check on what's happened. It's just a battle. Gonanen picks up a penalty. Killerzone stays to the right. This could be Noik's best chance. Up the inside into 1. And then Killerzone, bouncing across the grass and the curbing there, makes contact with a Toro Rosso driver. I don't think Noik will thank him for that. We've got yellow flags in sector 3 again. Josh in 13th makes another pit stop. So Killerzone holding on to 3rd place at the moment. Oh, and he's picked up a 5-second stop-go penalty for corner cutting and gaining a place. So he ran off the road and took that position back. So Killerzone's race is now slowly starting to unravel here as June picks up a 3-second penalty. That could be interesting as the race reaches its final few laps here. VSR Francis is now smelling a potential podium as he jumps across the curb. There's Louis in the background and everyone else behind is still holding on as well. And Killerzone very deep into the hairpin there. That might give Francis an opportunity. I can see a crash happening in a couple of corners with these guys. Killerzone is looking more and more ragged as this race goes on. He's now picked up a 5-second time penalty. He knows he's got to push because he knows he's going to be losing position, and look, it's like a snake coming down the back straight there as they're all trying to pick up DRS, and look at that, the Williams drivers had to take avoiding action. I think the Toro Rosso moved right over to where the Williams was expecting to be, and now again up to the battle for third place, coming down into turn 1. Nowick this time ran the outside going into turn 1, and Killerzone again chops him off, and Nowick this time bounces across the curbing and pushes the McLaren driver wide. And up ahead, Louis has benefited from all this. He may very well move up into third. He's managed to overtake 3 cars in the space of a couple of corners, and Louis moves up into third. Nowick's now still in 4th place. Francis remains in 5th, and Killerzone has been pushed all the way down to 6th. These guys are still pushing each other coming into the next sequence of corners, and Louis will hopefully disappear. He's done what he needed to do to get up into 3rd place, and it's now Nowick is coming under attack from Killerzone, who's probably red hot with rage at the moment, being pushed around all over the circuit. And Nowick's going to have to defend coming into the hairpin because Killerzone, if he gets half an opportunity to take that 4th place, he will take it. He's thinking of it up the inside, will jump on board of the Williams of Francis, and again Killerzone with that lack of front downforce pushing the Toro Rosso wide. Francis, his back end is now a little loose as well, and Nowick and Francis now going into battle of the 5th and 6th place, but they could be 3 wide again coming down to the final chicane. Will jump on board of the Toro Rosso driver. Francis trying to round the outside, a bit of wheel rubbing, a bit of banging there between the two of them, and again Francis has to take avoiding action over the final chicane and picks up a 3-second time penalty because of it. Penalties are definitely going to change the finishing order of this race. It's lap 30 of 35. Louis is now safe in 3rd and can pull away. Francis now up into 4th place. Hopefully can start to pull a bit of a gap between himself and that raging McLaren of Killerzone in 5th. Nowick Ren from all of this is still yet to get past this McLaren. And the Renault of Poe there in 7th place has still got Gonanen behind him. CC Brain's a long way back in 9th. So it's 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th and 4th. You can see them there all in the same shot. And meanwhile Killerzone might start to come back at the Williams driver here with the help of DRS. And you can see there, yeah, you're right, he has got damage on that front left. I wouldn't be surprised if Nowick has damage at this point as well. So when Nowick try another move up the inside, coming into the hairpin very late on the brakes, almost making contact on the back of the McLaren. And we've got yellow flags all around the circuit apparently, not too sure what that's about. Yellow's in sector 3. The leaders are still carrying on, so it's not those guys, so it's someone further back. Meanwhile Killerzone then in 5th place has got to defend going into the final chicane yet again. Oh, and the Renault in the background there with Poe getting very close to Nowick. So I think Francis may be a bit safe at this point. He's away in 4th. He's only half a second ahead of Killerzone, but he will extend that gap coming over the next couple of corners. And again, Nowick finds himself in the wars, this time being pushed around by Poe. And Gonanen might fancy his chances of moving back up the order. Whilst all this is going on, Cliffy now 6.5 seconds ahead of Joom, who is 6.5 seconds ahead of Louis. So the top 3 pretty much locked in. But we've got to see and wait what happens with this little battle here. I think Francis has probably done enough at this point to consolidate in 4th place. Although Killerzone is hanging on less than a second away, and it's Nowick there that's now losing time to the guys ahead, which is expected as Poe again up the inside with the DRS into the chicane. And the Renault driver's being pushed out a little bit there. A bit of contact as well with the Ferrari. So these guys still scrapping over the same pieces of tarmac as they have been for the last several laps here. And I think now it's possibly calmed down a little bit, which is nice. Because the last thing I wanted to see was 2 or 3 of these guys in the wall ending their race. So we've lost 4 drivers, and Fristy CJ early retirement, VSR Blizzard Plexix as well. CSR Leon retired just a couple of laps ago. We've still got yellow flags coming through that final chicane. Not too sure what that's about. VSR Josh down in 14th picks up a time penalty, but he's not a factor for points. So we'll have a quick look at our leader and just see how he's getting on. Controlling the pace, although Joom is slowly catching. That gap's now down to 5.1. Now I wouldn't say we're in puncher territory here for the super soft tyres. I've seen people do 25, 26 laps in these fairly comfortably, and that's probably how much Cliffy will be doing on these. But Joom is slowly catching. That gap has come down from 6.3 to 5.1, and it's extended the gap as well back to Louis. So Francis seems comfortable in 4th at the moment, but Killerzone is still pushing hard in 5th. Nowick in 6th, has lost a couple of seconds to those two. Obviously being close battling with TTG Po and Gonan, and CC Brain is closing up a little bit on these guys on those ultra soft tyres, and Matt just holding on to the final point at the moment ahead of his own teammate actually. So Lambo and Matt, this is for honours within the Haas team for the final point. Matt 22 laps on the super soft tyres, Lambo 11 on the ultras. So you might see a position swap here between the two teammates, and it is for the final point as well as things stand. Matt staying to the middle of the circuit, and Lambo says okay, I'll just drive around the outside into the final chicane. So Lambo then does get past his teammate to take that final point, and Matt picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. But Liquid Blocks in 12th is looking very racy. He's on the ultra soft tyres. You've got Calic Risk, who's all the way down in 13th, unfortunately. VSR Josh in 14th. It's me in 15th, has made another pit stop. Same for Bugatti in 16th. In fact, Josh is back in the pits again. And he's immediately retired from the session, so he's phoning the towel with just a few laps left to go. It's lap 33 of 35. We're into the closing stages here, just a couple of minutes away, and this race will be over. It's been a very dominant display so far by Cliffy. He hasn't put a wheel wrong all race. Joom is slowly catching. We know that Joom has at least one 3-second time penalty. Cliffy possibly has one as well. I don't check. I like the surprise at the end of the race when they all cross the line. But at the moment, Cliffy, Joom and Louis looking very safe in 1st, 2nd and 3rd. The battle for 4th is still not resolved though. Francis just half a second ahead of Killerzone. Killerzone gaining all the time with the DRS. He might use it again. Well, he will use it again, and he might have an opportunity to get past into turn 1. Meanwhile, in the background there, you can see that 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th separated by just a little bit of a gap. So we won't be seeing any do or die moves going into turn 1. And Nowick holding on to 6th place at the moment. He'll feel a bit robbed. I think he feels he should have had a podium here tonight. Can still change over with penalties. 2 laps to go. As Lambo down in 10th place picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that'd be good news to Liquid Blocks, who's now up behind the Haas. He's already got past one of them, and now he's closing in on the second one. So it's the Haas, the Ferrari and the Haas. It's the meat in that American sandwich at the moment. Louis in 3rd picks up a 3-second time penalty. Canada is one of those circuits, unfortunately, where you do get a lot of time penalties. It's just the nature of the track, and it's the fact that the exceeding track limit warnings are very, very harsh, even on strict corner cutting rules. In Canada is probably the worst circuit out there. If we were seeing something like this at, let's say, for example, I don't know, Germany or Belgium, with so many people picking up time penalties, I would be a little concerned. But as it's Canada, I think we can pretty much let it slide. It's just people pushing the cars. There's been a few out there, of course, as we're seeing CC Brain possibly try a move on the outside into the final chicane, but Gonan defends the inside. CC Brain might try the switchback here, coming out of the final chicane with the DRS as well. He's already up the inside. This should be a comfortable move for 8th place for the Renault driver. Indeed it is, just chopping across the front wing there of the Ferrari into turn 2. So Gonan in there, who started on the front row of this grid, all the way down in 9th place now. VSR Josh leaves the session after his retirement a couple of laps ago, but we're on to the final lap now then. It's Cliffy that leads, 4.4 ahead of Joom. Louis safe in 3rd place for now. Francis safe in 4th, but Killerzone is still hanging on, pushing this damaged McLaren as far as possible. And Nowick slowly starting to close up as well, but I don't think he's been close enough to try and move into the final couple of corners. Louis coming down to the hairpin at the moment. June already on the back straight, and it's Cliffy then just making his way past the Red Bull of Bugatti to put him a lap down. And it's Cliffy then coming into and out of the final chicane. It's been a fantastic, dominating display by the Mercedes driver. The race win and the 25 points go to Cliffy. He will be overjoyed. It's Joom coming across the line for Sauber in 2nd place. It's been a great, aggressive drive by the Sauber driver from low down to pick up 2nd. Louis as well in 3rd on the alternate strategy does pick up the 3rd place. And it's Killerzone has managed to get past Francis then somewhere on the final lap. He does take 4th place, but Nowick jumps for pair of them up into 4th, and CC Brain jumps all of them as well. So CC Brain then has moved up into 4th place. Nowick classified in 5th. Killerzone 6th. Gonanen back up into 7th. Francis had one too many penalties there and drops down to 8th. And it's a battle for the final point, and it's taken by Liquid Blocks. Matt and Lambo 11th and 12th for Haas, just outside of the points. and Calic Risk in fact actually jumps Lambo at the end to claim 12, so it's 11th and 13th for Lambo, and It's Me will be the final classified runner on the lead lap in 14th. Bugatti was a lap down in 15th. We lost VSR Josh, CSR Leon late on, Plexix left the session midway through, Blizzard and Frisky CJ were also early retirements, and just to add insult to injury for It's Me, he picks up another penalty coming across the line and puts it in the wall to show his displeasure. So congratulations then to our top 3 drivers. Cliffy will be very, very happy with the race win for Mercedes. June 2nd place, and Louis in 3rd as well. All 3 drove very strong races. June from further down inside the top 10, making some initial aggressive moves early on to move himself up the order. Louis as well on the alternate strategy, starting on the super softs and going onto the ultras, and Cliffy dominated from the front from the start to the finish. So the final classification then, every driver had points, which is to be expected at Canada. Cliffy, Louis and June 1st, 2nd and 3rd. CC Brain in 4th place. Noek up into 5th place. He'll feel just for that after the instance with Killer Zone and a few others several laps ago. Killer Zone then classified in 6th. Gonanon in 7th. VSR Francis in 8th. TTG Poe in 9th. And Lickle Blocks picks up the final point. Just having a look. Hall of Shame, or Wall of Shame I should say. I think it's 18 seconds there possibly to Poe in the Renault picked up. Francis definitely had 15. Yeah, 18 seconds there to TGG Poe, so you probably should be looking at his exceeding track limits just a little bit. Bugatti there was our final runner and our lap down as well, and we lost 5 drivers. So thank you very much for tuning in tonight. There will be no podium interviews. I usually do them for ILR3, but I understand ILR1 don't do them, I'm led to believe, and I don't want to start doing something they don't usually do. This is just a one-off, and of course next week you will have your regular commentary team back again. But I've thoroughly enjoyed the experience of commentating in the top tier on PS4. Some very, very close battles out there as well, and a lot of action inside the top 10 in the final few laps as well, which made for excellent viewing. Thank you to all of you guys that have tuned in as well. We're up to 33 at the moment, so that's nice to know, and all the comments as well. The chat has been lighting up every 30 seconds as well with some nice comments in there, so thank you very much to everyone tuning in, and do come back next week. We'll be at Paul Ricard in France for round 8.